This is where the journey begins, from the pitch to the pontoon, the places we build, the lives we shape, and the people who keep it all moving. Parks, marinas, communities and businesses, bold ideas, real conversations. It's time to hear what really happens behind the gates and beyond the gangways. Welcome to From Pitch to Pontoon.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Calum, and welcome to From Pitch to Pontoon, the brand new podcast brought to you by Elite Dynamics, bringing you chats, challenges, stories from land and sea. Here we are, guys. It's episode 1.
Here we are. We've not been nervous about this, have we?
Not at all. Can you tell?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I've been recording. Please don't swear, guys. As we go
We'll try not to.
Right. So I guess we need to start off with why Elite Dynamics is even doing a podcast.
Good question.
Yeah.
I think we started talking some months ago, didn't we? And we did a webinar monthly, and we wanted to get traction. We have some great things to talk about. We have some amazing sort of tales from our past of the industry, park and marina, and we also have lots of interactions around the industry as well. And we felt, from myself, you can chip in, Lisa, but from myself it was almost where we weren't getting that message out. And I think for me it was just us being real people and the opportunity to speak to real people.
I think that's exactly it. It's the personality. The webinars are quite rigid, and yes, we want to get that information out there, but it's a little bit rigid. I think if we all, when we're chatting and having a conversation, some really good things do come of it. Yes, we're absolute idiots sometimes, but it's real, and you do, and people want to see real. They don't always want to see the polished version, do they? I think sometimes that's what we were talking about. We get our message across when you're real.
I think I think the words Andrew used were, "I hate webcams."
Well, I didn't know if we were allowed to say that.
But it was, and the massive thing is that it took so much effort to do a webinar, and there was, how many, Lisa? 7, 8 people involved in putting those together, from development teams to your team, Calum, to your team, Lisa. Everyone was involved, but also it was quite formal. It was, hi, product, buy. And that's, that's essentially
not really who we are. So
no.
Definitely not.
No.
I think if we look at it broader, we are, as a business, Elite Dynamics, the only people, I think, in the space, and I say the space, that can actually join up holiday parks, RV parks, marinas, brokers, tech, Microsoft.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I guess in the coming weeks, we're probably going to have some guests on to join us to share their stories, their insights, all the thing. I think, Lisa, in your TikTok video, you're looking for the gossip as part of what
I love it.
Lisa and gossip? No.
You've got to get on the behind the scenes nitty gritty. I mean, Calum, you love a bit of below decks. I know.
He does, 100%.
I do. And I keep looking at, because obviously we're in that sort of brokerage space as well. I've been connecting with a lot of people on LinkedIn that sell these super yachts, and geez,
I know.
I'm looking to buy one if anyone's in the market. For like 20 quid.
Just go and live on one.
What aren't people talking about that we want to bring into this conversation, into this space?
I think everything. I don't even think we should put a limit on what we want. I think we want to hear what people have to say. We want to hear people's experiences, like good, bad, ugly, because it feeds in and it helps drive the product. And I think, we were away yesterday, Andrew, with the team. I think that's something that's really at the heart of Elite, is that we love to drive the product forward for our customers, because we've been there. We've been on those marinas. We've been in those parks. We've been in those situations. We've probably been in worse situations. I know I probably was.
I know from my past that you'd have all these conversations between sites. What's happening with you? What's happening with you? What's happening with you? But there's nowhere for all that information to come together. Actually, And I think this is probably where the parks and marinas are so much more similar than they think, is that they are actually having the same operational challenges across the board. And that's
Absolutely.
been weighing, give our opinions on our experiences.
No, I totally agree, Calum. And I think for me, it's we do it in our marketing campaigns now, is we're sat behind the computers and we've, quite often in most of the new customers or existing customers, when we get a challenge in, we go, well, we've done that, we've been there, we've understood that. I was that person buying that software at some point. But so it's about the software, but it's also about the things that, for example, and I'm just going to say it, day one, we're too expensive is what's around the industry. It's a myth. And it's because historically, you've got this sort of not archaic, but on-premise software. And that's where this sort of journey started. Everything's SaaS and subscription based now, and we're a completely different business to where that started up. And I think that's the stuff that we can talk about. The stuff where we can openly discuss with customers or special guests that come on about what our model is, but also give them an opportunity to discuss their model. We've got lots of partners in the industry, and it's up to them to come to us and tell us something about what's happening. Is there still challenges happening out there? What are the challenges you're facing? Are you not having challenges? Because if you're not having challenges, what are you doing differently to the ones over there that are? And let's talk openly about it. And I think that's...
I'm not having any challenges.
Yeah.
But you guys bring it quite nicely into where we've all sort of come from. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you own a marina?
No.
Have I made this up?
I definitely did not own a marina. Like, what are you even talking about? Do you think?
Secret millionaire. Tell us more about that, Lisa.
This is in my dreams. No, I didn't. I worked in a marina.
Okay.
I worked for it was a marine engineering company in the west of Scotland. But it gave me some fantastic opportunities and some great insight into the days, the goings on in a marina, out on muster, sailing, going through the canals, sitting under the hull of a boat, like sanding it and painting it and scrubbing barnacles. I've done all of that in my boiler suit. Fiberglass all in my arms, because that's what happens when you're sanding down. So I definitely didn't own a marina, but I worked in a marina, and I was I had fantastic opportunity out of that. And I've always been around that from growing up kind of in Norfolk. Like, I moved away from Scotland when I was 5 and lived in Norfolk. That's the Norfolk Broads. There's a massive sailing community there, and that's what we did. We actually did that through school. We learned how to sail. We were always around it. So that's been a big part of my life, but also hotels and holiday parks. So always front of house. Holiday parks, I'm sure you'll know because you both worked on them. Yes, you have one job, but you actually do many. But it's where you get your experience, and I accidentally fell into that. Really young, actually. I was 16, moved back to Scotland and went up to the holiday park and was met by the owner of the company, who I'm not going to tell you why he gave me my job, but I got a job as a receptionist, and I never left it. And I think that's what lots of people do. Lots of people just, it's a summer job, it's here, it's there, and then you never leave it, because it's actually hard work, but really, really fun.
Yeah,
I would say so. The similar thing I fell into, it was only meant to get me through school. I worked at a little park in Scotland, scrubbing pots, waiting on tables for a season or two. And then I was meant to go to uni, but I liked the money, and I went and became part of the entertainment team.
Hey.
Used to be a dancer. Looking at this body now, you wouldn't know that, but yeah, I went away. I never danced or sang in my life. Ended up on like the flagship production parks of several large operators, which was really cool. Went into marketing, sales,
operations. It was a complete accident, never ever meant to happen.
Yeah.
And I think I left it actually very briefly. I left for 3 months. I went to work in a call center. I don't know what was going on in my life. Decided I was going to go work in a call center for a bank. Who phones their bank to tell them what a lovely day they're having and what a great experience? You just got people are just phoning and screaming at you all day long. Before I moved into tech, and then obviously here at Elite Dynamics.
Where do I come from? So where I started, I think similar to you, Lisa, I was 15 or 16 when I started in the industry. I'm 40 this year. 16, and I started as a pot washer at a 5-star holiday park in North Wales. So started there, and I suppose similar to all our stories is just worked my way through. One of the things I think I'm very proud of on the holiday park side is that there probably isn't a job I haven't done.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked behind a bar. I've worked as a chef. Did that for a year. That was good. There's a funny story on that. I'll come. That's for another day, not today. But there's some funny stories there. And so yeah, worked my way through. And my old sales director gave me an opportunity to do sales when I think I was 17. So I was too young to do sales on this park that I was on. So he gave me an opportunity to do one in Northern Ireland. And the holiday park was on a runway in Northern Ireland, an old runway, not a live one, on an old runway in Northern Ireland. And I spent a year there selling caravans. So that's when, and I think I was 17 then, and then went back to North Wales, and then I sort of did 12 years sort of previous to Elite Dynamics as a general manager, looked after 3 holiday parks in the Northeast, and I've got a wife and 3 kids later. But I've done, what I am proud of, I've done every role that, that you can imagine, and I've got that experience. So when we're talking to prospects now and existing customers, there's not that many times when they come and bring a solution going, I haven't been there myself. And over that 12 years I was a GM, 3 times we changed software, and we were evaluating different companies throughout that period. So I've gone through that exact process of what to look for, data transfers, data integration, pricing, and it's one of the biggest things that I did when I was looking was price is always important, but it's about the actual features and the delivery and the ROI that you're getting back off that particular product. And I got burnt on the first incarnation of when we were looking at software and went, oh, that's cheap, let's just go for that. And then you're ripping it out because it's not functioning the way you need it to. So actually you spend double because you're doing it again. And that, I see it happen so many times, and I get price is always important, but it is amazing to think that, actually it's just features, benefits, and what comes out of that particular software that people are looking for.
How did you end up going from a GM to having 50 million Microsoft certifications?
There's also a funny story about that one as well. So obviously the owner of Elite Dynamics, Jermaine, is my brother-in-law. So I'd watched Nicola and Jermaine from the day they started Elite Dynamics, when there was just 3 of them with Jack as well. So when the 3 of them started the company, I was able to watch it grow and how they took on more and more parks over the years. And then there was an opportunity, because I'd always loved tech. I'd built my own CRM system as well as selling caravans, and I sort of went down that road to try and facilitate the needs of the park that I was on. So it just sort of got to the point where I spoke with Jermaine, Nicola, and Jack, and it was like, it's time to jump into software now and do what I love full time. Which is how it happened, and we had a conversation over a number of months, and then here I am nearly 6 years later.
6 years later, sales director, all your accreditations.
I won't tell you how I got one of them. It's real, a real exam, but it's a funny story.
Go on then. What year has she used your Microsoft?
Oh, is that the way we're going now? Is it? So we were at so long story short, you need three certifications. Like for like the Power Platform side. So you get fundamentals, functional consultant, and solution architect. So I'd already got the first two, and we were at a Microsoft event somewhere, and we got talking, and there was a need for me to get this solution architect to complete the three in the process. So that night, 9:30, went back up to my hotel room, booked the exam for 1:00 in the morning. That time went on, and the great thing is I knew a lot of it anyway because we do it in our day-to-day stuff, So I was already quite au fait with what needed to happen. So I went through, looked through Microsoft Learn platform, which is amazing, and then sat the exam. I think it was 1:00 that morning and passed.
I thought you'd stolen it.
No, it was a real exam, and
and you're this Microsoft guy. Listen, can I?
Yeah, no, real exam, real information, real learning and understanding. But it was one of those ones where sometimes you can prepare 6 months for something like that, and I just took the chance. I'm not saying I'm Brady, but I just decided to do it that one night because I was told to. So. Yeah.
So Lisa, obviously, woman in tech, absolutely love. I know you hate that title, but you are a woman in tech. So do you want to tell us how you ended up in tech from owning a marina, as I kept trying to make out you did?
So finished working in Holiday Park because I met my husband and we had our two beautiful babies. So obviously I was on my maternity leave, and we all know that holiday parks and childcare do not sometimes go hand in hand, especially a good few years ago. So I stopped working. I then went back to work as a healthcare assistant. So during kind of COVID, that was what I was doing. I was giving everybody their vaccinations and, blood tests, working in the pharmacy because we were in a rural area. So that it was kind of a bit of everything. Absolutely loved it. But we decided to relocate, and I literally had a call with Jermaine and was like, you want a job? So I came in and started, because I'd used like the software before. It was like, well, you know the industry, you can come in. I started as a junior application consultant, so not even
I did
just
as well.
an app consultant. I was a junior.
Yeah.
And I just kind of took to it. I think probably maybe better than I would maybe give myself credit for. I think I've got some good people skills. Sometimes that's slightly lacking in the tech industry. People always think that you're a bit of a
nerd.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not.
Do. Yeah. Techie people.
Yeah. I think I like to be that gap. I like to bridge that gap between being able to talk to a developer and being able to talk to a customer and find a good middle ground. That's the part I love, and I've loved watching things develop. So obviously I've now gone from being lead consultant to product manager, which is that is what I enjoy. I love watching it all come together. I love watching everything, and we are really rapidly doing that, I feel. Like I think Andrew touched on it earlier when he said how much the business has changed when he said we were too expensive.
Myth.
Fake news. But when you think about where we were, even when I started just over 3 years ago to what we have now, in the last 6 months we've got My Elite, we've got Elite Marinas, we've got brokers, we've done so much, and not even like forgetting the park industry, because we've added so many features. I think this release has been Elite Parks and Elite Marinas very heavy. We've really invested so much, and it's great to see it. And I would love to be able to give more people the opportunity to see these little quirks and these little bits and pieces that we've added based on the experience of our time on parks and marinas, and also what our customers feed back.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's what we're aiming to do, I think, really, with this podcast, is to bring the real life experiences of customers, prospects, anyone that's in the industry to come and talk to us, and the tech that's sort of behind it as well. Obviously, we are a tech business. We support the parks, marinas, the brokers, the boat builder, like the whole subsectors of both of those industries. So that's what we're saying. We're going to unify it all together, wrap it up in the tech, have honest conversations about it. I think the conversations happen behind the scenes, where they're not said out loud, they're not said in public forums, but it's the real stuff that goes on that we all know what's going on. So let's just talk about it and let's try and solve it.
I totally agree. And one of the biggest things, like we'll be doing in coming episodes as well, is talking about things inside the tech. Lisa and I were at an AI strategy day yesterday, and you weren't invited. But it is one of the biggest topics around in the tech world. But it is also like Marmite. People love it or they hate it. And there's a lot of, because there's not an understanding behind it. So one of the but one of the things is, we'll bring it to you here. We can give you, you've literally got Lisa, product manager, who can bring you first hand of what's coming down the road, sneaky little insights about what we're working on. And, but AI is a big topic, but we've been, as a company, talking about AI for 2 years. We don't just go, here's AI, let's just go and put it out there. On everything that we do, we work behind the scenes, we have meetings, we reach out to our customer base, and so there's some exciting things to come with regards to Copilot. Absolutely.
I was going to say, following on from that, I think a platform like this is such a good place to come and listen if you are unsure about like the world of AI and what it is, because when you actually put it into real context and you think, oh, actually I've used that for years, I've been doing that for ages, I've been doing that, people begin to become less afraid. And I think this is what this should be, like what we hope it should be. That's the kind of, it's a myth buster almost. It's about getting that out there and ask the questions. Like if you see it on here, get in touch, ask the question, like let's have the chat.
We can take phone-ins. Live phone-ins.
It would be good though.
So talk about what we want from the podcast, what we're hoping to achieve. What do we not want to happen? What's our hard no?
I think it's, for me, the idea behind this is for us to be real people, but it remains professional. We are Elite Dynamics. we are Elite Dynamics, and this is about us, but also about our partners, customers, who will be coming on as special guests. So we won't be stood here or sat here, and there'll be no bitching. So if that's what you're looking for, that's not going to happen. No negativity. It's just real stories. That's literally what this is. This isn't a half an hour session of us flagging something off. This is just airing and talking about real events that are happening. And absolutely, we'll be talking about Elite Dynamics and our stuff and how we're getting on behind the scenes as well as we grow.
So you get a little sneak peek from behind the scenes. You'll also get all the industry news from parks, marinas, and the perspectives of those that are working in them. So if we're looking for one sort of story, so we're looking out, we want this kind of guest to come and join us. What are you looking for? Put a call out to them. Who do you want to talk to? Now's your chance.
I would love to have somebody on this podcast that has been with Elite Dynamics from the start.
Yeah.
Like to hear their journey and to see how they've grown, and someone that's really taken the modules bit by bit, and they've taken their time about it, but to prove like what you start with and what you can end up with. I think that would be,
that's a really good idea.
Great. I would love to see that. I would love to have somebody just to chat through even like the pain points, and this is what we did, please don't do that. Like you would and exactly, I think you missed out what I don't want to happen, but I'll say it now.
He has this habit of forgetting people. I ask his boss, Lisa.
For me, I hear from the family operators.
Yeah.
So little businesses that have grown. I know we should in the next few episodes be actually bringing some guests on that have done that. I think those stories are really important to tell because they go from mum, great granny and great granda now.
Yeah.
These businesses, and they're handing them down generation by generation, how they have had to adapt and weather through economic crashes and like all of those things that have really taken an impact in the business with not the same capital behind it to support it, and how they've got through and survived. That's the other kind of guests I'm looking forward to talking to.
Yeah. Okay. Is it wrap up time? Is that?
That was
so
a podcast. We did it. We managed the very
Wow.
from pitch to pontoon. If you've enjoyed listening to the three of us talk about ourselves and you want to hear more of that, make sure that you do subscribe to us. You can subscribe to us on Spotify. From pitch to pontoon. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram on the same handle, or you can find us on YouTube at Elite Dynamics UK. You can find us there as well, and you can join in and everything we've got to say. If you want to get involved in the podcast, you want to be a guest, we'd love you to do that. You can drop us an email at marketing@elitedynamics.co.uk. Just put the subject is from pitch to pontoon, and we'll be more than happy to invite you on to talk about your park, your marina, your boat, whatever you want to talk to us about. Please feel free to reach out. From myself, Lisa and Andrew, this has been the very first episode of From Pitch to Pontoon. We'll see you later.
Thank you very much.